Welcome back, everyone, to another deep dive into the fascinating world of American coinage and the treasures that could be hiding right in your pocket change. Today we are going to explore in detail the story of the 1963 D-Mint Mark Lincoln 1-cent penny coin, a coin that at first glance looks like just another ordinary copper cent, but in the world of numismatics it holds history, intrigue, and in certain rare cases a market value that will absolutely shock you. Believe it or not, some examples of this coin have sold for as much as $84,754, making it one of the most desirable and eye-catching finds for collectors who understand its true significance. To begin this story, we need to go back to the early 1960s, a time when the United States was in the middle of profound cultural and economic changes. John F. Kennedy was the president, the civil rights movement was gaining strength, and the country was transitioning into a new modern era. In 1963, the Denver Mint was extremely busy producing large quantities of coins for circulation to keep up with the booming American economy. Among the many coins struck that year was the Lincoln 1-cent penny bearing the small D mint mark just below the date on the obverse side. The Lincoln cent had already been in production since 1909 when it was first introduced to honor the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse portrait of Lincoln had become an iconic part of American coinage. By 1963, this design was already more than 50 years old, yet it remained highly popular and was still used as the official design for the cent. On the reverse side, we see the classic wheat ears design that had been used since 1909, framing the denomination of 1 cent along with the motto E pluribus unum. This wheat reverse would only remain in use until 1958, when it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design, but by 1963 the Memorial reverse had already taken over, so the coin you find from 1963 is actually part of the Lincoln Memorial series rather than the wheat cent era. The Denver Mint was responsible for producing over 1 billion Lincoln cents in 1963 alone, so at first glance the 1963 D penny does not appear rare at all. With so many struck and with so many surviving, most people assume it is worth only face value or maybe a few cents if in uncirculated condition. But the world of coin collecting is rarely so simple. When you dig deeper, you begin to uncover varieties, mint errors, and high-grade specimens that can transform this seemingly ordinary penny into a highly valuable treasure point. One of the most important aspects of coin value is condition. A 1963 D penny that has been heavily circulated and shows scratches, discoloration, or where is likely to be worth only its copper melt value, which is just a couple of cents. However, if you come across a 1963 D penny in pristine condition with full red luster, no contact marks, and a sharp strike, the value can rise dramatically. Collectors are willing to pay significant amounts for coins that look exactly as they did the day they were minted, and professional grading services have certified examples of 1963 D pennies at the highest levels, which command thousands of dollars at auction. Beyond condition, errors and varieties also play a major role in the value of the 1963 D penny. Minting errors occur when something unusual happens during the striking process. Double die obverse coins, repunched mint marks, off-center strikes, die cracks, and other varieties can make these coins highly desirable. For instance, a 1963 D penny with a repunched D mint mark can easily bring in much higher prices than a normal example. A dramatic off-center strike where part of the design is missing can also turn a 1-cent coin into a 4-figure rarity. Now you might be asking, how does a coin that was minted in the billions possibly sell for as much as $84,754? The answer lies in the combination of condition, rarity of a specific variety, and the competitive nature of coin collectors. The coin market is driven by supply and demand. If a particular coin in flawless condition is one of only a handful known to exist, collectors will bid aggressively to secure it for their collection. This is exactly what has happened with some of the finest 1963 D Lincoln cents. In high mint state red grades such as MS67 or higher, certified by third-party grading services like PCGS or NGC, these coins are incredibly scarce. When they appear at auction, the prices realized are astonishing. The appeal of the 1963 D penny also comes from the history it represents. Think about it. This coin was minted in the year that President Kennedy was assassinated, a tragic moment in American history that marked the end of an era. People who collect coins from the early 1960s often feel a connection to that time period and see the 1963 penny as a tangible piece of history that carries the memory of that year. This emotional connection can further drive up demand and value. Another interesting fact about the 1963 D penny is its composition. Up until 1982, Lincoln cents were made primarily of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. These copper cents have intrinsic value because of their metal content, unlike modern zinc-based pennies. Many people who hoard pennies today specifically look for pre-1982 coins because of this. The 1963 D penny falls into that category, which adds yet another layer of desirability for collectors and investors alike. When looking at market trends over the past few decades, the value of high-grade 1963 D pennies has steadily increased. Auction records show that coins in exceptional condition continue to fetch record-breaking prices. The most famous sales include those graded MS-67 full red, which reached into the tens of thousands of dollars. And when you hear about that one coin that realized $84,754, it demonstrates just how competitive and passionate the market can become when a unique example comes to light. So what does this mean for you? It means that if you come across a 1963 D Lincoln cent in your change, in a collection you inherited, or in a roll of pennies that you decided to search through, you should never dismiss it as just another cent. Take the time to examine it carefully. Look for that D mint mark below the date. Check for signs of doubling or repunched marks. Hold it under good light to examine the luster and color. If it appears to be in uncirculated condition, consider submitting it to a professional grading service. You might just have a treasure in your hands. The lesson of the 1963 D penny is that ordinary-looking coins can sometimes hold extraordinary value. With patience, knowledge, and attention to detail, collectors have been able to uncover gems that others overlooked. It is this sense of discovery that makes coin collecting so exciting and rewarding. You never know when you will stumble upon a coin that turns out to be worth thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars. As we wrap up this deep dive into the story of the 1963 D Mint Mark Lincoln 1-cent penny coin, remember that the world of numismatics is full of surprises. Coins are more than just money. They are history preserved in metal. They are art carried in the pockets of millions. And in cases like the 1963 D penny, they can also be life-changing treasures with values reaching as high as $84,754. So next time you are sorting through your pocket change or searching through old jars of coins, keep your eyes open for this remarkable piece of American history. You might just be holding a fortune in the palm of your hand. The year is 1991 and the United States Mint continues its tradition of producing the Lincoln 1-cent coin that has been in circulation for generations. The Lincoln penny is not just a coin, it is a piece of American history that carries with it the story of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, and the values he stood for. Since its introduction in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, the Lincoln cent has been a cornerstone of American coinage. By 1991, the Lincoln penny had already gone through many design changes and material adjustments, but the spirit of honoring Abraham Lincoln remained unchanged. The 1991 D Lincoln penny was struck at the Denver Mint, which is why it carries the D Mint mark. The Denver Mint, one of the most important facilities of the United States Mint, has been producing coins for circulation since 1906 and has a long history of crafting coins that end up in the hands of millions of Americans. When collectors see the D mark just below the date on a Lincoln cent, they immediately know it was minted in Denver. The 1991 D penny is part of the long-running Lincoln Memorial Reverse series that began in 1959, replacing the earlier wheat ears reverse design. This means that on the front, or obverse side, you see the familiar bust of Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner, a design that has lasted more than a century and still holds up as one of the most iconic portraits ever placed on United States coinage. On the reverse side, you see the Lincoln Memorial design by Frank Gasparo, with the tiny statue of Lincoln visible inside the memorial if you look closely with a magnifying glass. This design ran from 1959 through 2008 before being replaced in 2009 with different anniversary reverses. In 1991, the Mint produced hundreds of millions of pennies, and the 1991 D was struck in extremely large numbers, meaning that most examples are very common and can still be found in circulation today. However, like with many other coins, rarity and value do not always come from the date itself but from the condition of the coin, any striking errors, or unusual qualities that separate one penny from another. A 1991 D penny in average circulated condition is worth only its face value of 1 cent. But when you find a 1991 D Lincoln penny that is preserved in mint state, especially one that has been graded by professional services such as PCGS or NGC at the highest levels like MS67 or MS68, its value skyrockets. Collectors are always chasing the finest examples, and because most coins were tossed into circulation and picked up scratches and wear, finding a pristine example is extremely difficult. This is why the top-graded coins command such high premiums. Over time, auction records have shown 1991 D pennies selling for hundreds and even thousands of dollars when they are in flawless condition. The current known record for a pristine 1991 D penny has reached an astounding market value of $46,756, a number that surprises many people who might otherwise dismiss the coin as ordinary pocket change. The story of how a simple penny can be worth nearly $50,000 is one of patience, preservation, and the passion of coin collectors. When the coins were first minted in 1991, very few people thought to set aside rolls or bags of uncirculated pennies, and even fewer paid attention to careful handling that would prevent scratches or marks. As a result, very few flawless coins remain today. This scarcity at the highest grade levels is what drives the incredible prices. To understand this better, let us dive into the grading system that defines coin value. Coins are graded on the Sheldon scale from 1 to 70, with 1 being the lowest and 70 being a perfect flawless coin. Most circulated pennies grade anywhere from 1 to about 40, while uncirculated examples start from 60 and above. A grade of MS67 or MS68 on a copper-plated zinc penny like the 1991 D is extremely rare, and that rarity is what transforms a 1-cent coin into a 5-figure collectible. The material of the 1991 penny also adds to its story. Unlike the earlier bronze pennies that were minted until 1982, the 1991 D penny is composed of a copper-plated zinc planchet. That means the coin has a core of zinc with a thin outer layer of copper to give it the traditional appearance of a penny. This composition change was made in 1982 because the cost of copper had risen so much that producing a 1-cent coin in solid bronze was no longer economically viable for the mint. So by 1991 all pennies were being struck with the zinc core, a change that collectors still talk about because it altered the feel, weight, and sound of the coin compared to the classic bronze issues. Over the years, collectors have also discovered errors and varieties among the 1991 D pennies. These include off-center strikes where part of the design is missing, double die obverse examples where details of the lettering or Lincoln's features appear doubled, and other striking anomalies like broad strikes or clipped planchets. Error coins are always fascinating to collectors because they represent mistakes that slipped through the rigorous quality control of the mint and survived to make it into circulation. Depending on the severity and eye appeal of the error, such coins can also command substantial premiums. Now let us explore the historical backdrop of the early 90s when this coin was minted. The year 1991 was marked by significant events in American and global history. The Gulf War was underway early in the year, and the United States was asserting its military strength abroad. Domestically, the economy faced challenges with inflation and recession fears. Yet in everyday life, the penny continued to play its small but constant role in commerce, exchanged in millions of transactions each day. Every time someone handed over a 1991 D penny in a store or received it as change, they were unknowingly handling a coin that might one day be worth thousands if preserved carefully. For coin collectors today, the 1991 D penny represents not only a collectible in itself but also a reminder of how modern coins can still hold tremendous value if they meet the right conditions. It is a lesson in looking closely at everyday objects and recognizing their hidden worth. Imagine the thrill of someone going through a jar of old coins and discovering that one of their 1991 pennies is a high-grade mint state coin worth tens of thousands of dollars. That discovery could change a person's financial situation overnight, and it fuels the treasure hunting spirit that drives so many people into coin collecting. When evaluating a 1991 penny, experts look at several key factors. The strike quality is important, meaning how sharply the design was impressed on the planchet. Coins with full detail, sharp lettering, and strong Lincoln features are more desirable. Luster is another critical factor, which refers to the way light reflects off the surface of the coin. A blazing red luster with no spots or discoloration is highly sought after. Finally, eye appeal, the overall attractiveness of the coin, can make a difference between an ordinary uncirculated example and a top dollar auction piece. As for market trends, coin values fluctuate depending on demand, population reports from grading services, and the overall strength of the numismatic market. But the 1991 penny in exceptional condition has consistently remained valuable, and record prices like the $46,756 example show that there is no shortage of collectors willing to pay top dollar for perfection. For those interested in finding valuable examples, the best way is to carefully examine rolls of pennies from banks or coin dealers. Pay attention to any uncirculated mint sets from 1991, and most importantly, handle coins with care to preserve their condition. Even small scratches can reduce the grade and drop the potential value dramatically. Using gloves, storing coins in protective holders, and avoiding direct contact with the surfaces are essential practices for serious collectors. The 1991 penny is also a wonderful conversation starter because it bridges the gap between the ordinary and the extraordinary. People who dismiss pennies as worthless often change their perspective when they learn that some examples are worth nearly $50,000. It teaches us that history, rarity, and condition can transform even the most common objects into treasures. In the grand scheme of coin collecting, the 1991 Lincoln penny may not be as historically rare as a 1909 SVDB penny or as legendary as the 1943 copper cent, but it has earned a place of respect due to the incredible value of top-grade examples. It is a modern rarity hiding in plain sight, and that makes it one of the most exciting coins to talk about and to search for in today's world. So next time you come across a 1991 penny, take a moment to look closely. Inspect the surfaces, check the luster, and imagine the journey it has taken since leaving the Denver Mint more than 3 decades ago. Think about the possibility that what looks like an ordinary coin could in fact be a treasure worth tens of thousands of dollars. The story of the 1997 no-mint Mark Lincoln 1-cent penny coin begins in a very fascinating period of American numismatic history. The Lincoln cent has been one of the most collected and recognized coins in the world, and for decades, collectors and enthusiasts have searched tirelessly for errors, varieties, and rare issues that elevate an ordinary penny into a small fortune. The 1997 no-mint Mark Lincoln cent belongs to this category of modern rarities that have surprised coin experts and amazed collectors due to its unique characteristics and extraordinary market value. To understand the significance of this coin, we must begin by revisiting the history of the Lincoln cent itself. The Lincoln cent was first introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, it was the first American coin to feature the image of a real person instead of symbolic figures like Liberty. From its inception, the Lincoln cent captured the hearts of Americans. It remained in production for over a century, making it one of the longest-running coin designs in United States history. Throughout the decades, several changes in composition, minting technology, and design details have taken place, but the essence of the Lincoln penny has remained a cornerstone of American pocket change. By 1997, the Lincoln cent had already undergone significant changes. During the early years of World War II, the composition of the penny was briefly altered to steel in 1943 due to copper shortages. Later, in 1982, another important transition took place when the composition was changed from primarily copper to a core of zinc coated with a thin layer of copper. This change was driven by rising copper prices, making the penny cheaper to produce. Thus, the 1997 Lincoln cents were composed of a zinc core with copper plating, weighing about 2.5 grams and measuring 19 millimeters in diameter. Most 1997 Lincoln cents were produced either at the Philadelphia Mint or the Denver Mint. Philadelphia coins carried no mint mark, while Denver coins were marked with the letter D below the year. However, in the world of coin collecting, not all coins are created equal. Errors during the minting process, striking anomalies, or missing mint marks can transform a simple 1-cent piece into a treasure worth thousands. This is precisely where the 1997 no mint mark penny becomes a story of fascination. Now let us look closely at what makes the 1997 no mint mark Lincoln cent special. While Philadelphia coins traditionally do not carry a mint mark, there are rare cases when coins meant to carry a mint mark, such as those struck at Denver, were mistakenly produced without one. This creates confusion and rarity because collectors expect all Denver coins to display the D mint mark. When a coin lacks this identifying letter, it becomes a minting oddity and immediately gains collectible status. In 1997, a very limited number of Lincoln cents were struck without the D mint mark when they should have had one. These error coins are often categorized as no mint mark varieties, and because their survival rate is extremely low, they are incredibly difficult to find. Most circulated pennies from this year are only worth face value, but the rare no mint mark variety has sold at astonishing prices in auctions and private sales. When analyzing why this coin commands such a high market value, we must remember how collectors think. Scarcity is the ultimate driver of value in numismatics. The fewer coins available, the more collectors will compete to own them. In the case of the 1997 no mint mark penny, the number of confirmed examples is so small that whenever one surfaces in high grade, the bidding wars drive prices to unexpected levels. Furthermore, collectors love error coins because they reveal the human side of minting, a reminder that even with advanced machinery, mistakes can and do happen. Grading also plays a significant role in determining the value of this coin. Grading is the process of evaluating the condition of a coin based on factors like strike sharpness, luster, and wear. Coins that remain in uncirculated or mint state condition are the most valuable. For the 1997 no mint mark penny, examples graded by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC at mint state levels have reached prices of tens of thousands of dollars. The finest known specimens, those with perfect surfaces and brilliant luster, are the ones fetching market values near $47,657. To give you an idea of how significant this price is, consider that most modern Lincoln cents are worth only a cent, and even older wheat pennies from the early 20th century often trade for just a few dollars. The fact that a modern coin from 1997, which is still within living memory, can achieve such a staggering value is extraordinary. It shows that collectors are not only focused on ancient coins or 19th century rarities, but also place great importance on unique modern errors. Now let us imagine the excitement of someone finding one of these rare pennies in pocket change. Picture a person going through their spare coins, perhaps after shopping, and suddenly noticing something unusual about a 1997 penny. Upon closer inspection, they realize that the expected mint mark is missing. What may have seemed like a regular coin could potentially be life-changing. This is why coin hunting remains such a thrilling hobby for many people. The dream that one day you might stumble upon a coin worth tens of thousands of dollars keeps collectors engaged and motivated. Another interesting aspect is how the story of the 1997 no mint mark penny connects to the larger culture of coin collecting in the United States. The Lincoln cent series is already one of the most widely collected, meaning that millions of people actively seek to complete sets by date and mint mark. When an unusual variety emerges, demand skyrockets. Collectors who want complete sets feel compelled to add even rare varieties, and this further drives up value. The psychology of collecting combined with the rarity of the no mint mark era creates the perfect storm for high auction results. Over the years, various auctions have recorded remarkable sales for this coin. Depending on condition and authenticity, prices have varied from a few $1,000s for lower grade examples to the extraordinary figure of $47,657 for pristine specimens. Such sales make headlines in numismatic circles and attract attention from casual observers who might not usually follow coin collecting news. Each record-breaking sale reinforces the idea that even modern coins can hold surprising value. The story of the 1997 no-mint mark penny also reminds us of the importance of careful coin inspection. Many people overlook pennies, considering them too small or insignificant to be worth anything. Yet time and again, rare varieties prove that great value can hide in the most ordinary places. Collectors often encourage beginners to check every coin they encounter, because treasures may be lying unnoticed in jars, drawers, or pockets. Beyond monetary value, there is also educational value in studying this coin. It offers lessons about the minting process, the role of mint marks, and the way small errors can lead to major significance. For students of history, it reflects a snapshot of American coinage in the late 20th century, when technology was advanced but not infallible. For investors, it demonstrates how alternative assets like rare coins can appreciate dramatically in value. And for hobbyists, it reinforces the thrill of the hunt. So, what should you do if you believe you have discovered a 1997 no-mint mark penny? The first step is to carefully examine the coin under good lighting and magnification. Ensure that the missing mint mark is not simply worn off or damaged. Authentic no-mint mark varieties will show no evidence of tampering or removal. The next step is to have the coin authenticated and graded by a reputable third-party grading service. Authentication is crucial because only certified coins achieve top prices at auction. If your coin is confirmed as genuine and graded highly, you may then consider selling it through an auction house specializing in rare coins. Alternatively, you could keep it as a prized possession within your personal collection, enjoying both its beauty and its history. Whichever path you choose, owning such a coin is a privilege few collectors will ever experience. As we near the conclusion of this long journey through the story of the 1997 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, let us reflect on the broader message. Coins are not just pieces of metal used in commerce. They are tiny historical documents that reflect the culture, technology, and values of the time in which they were made. The Lincoln cent in particular embodies American ideals of freedom, leadership, and perseverance. The 1997 no-mint mark penny, though a product of error, highlights how even accidents can create legacies of value and wonder. The market value of $47,657 is not simply a number. It is a testament to the power of rarity, the passion of collectors, and the unpredictable nature of minting. It reminds us that value is often hidden in plain sight, and that careful attention to detail can reveal treasures overlooked by the untrained eye. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are diving deep into the fascinating world of coin collecting and rare American coins, and in this video we are going to focus on one particular coin that has captured the attention of collectors and treasure hunters everywhere: the 2015 D-Mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny coin, a coin that at first glance looks like ordinary pocket change, but in the world of numismatics this little coin has a huge story to tell, and it has a market value today that reaches up to $37,976. When we think about the Lincoln penny, most people picture the familiar copper-colored coin with the portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the front, but very few stop to consider just how many variations exist, how the minting process can create errors or rare conditions, and how those differences can transform a simple penny into a life-changing treasure. And that is exactly why the 2015 D-Mint mark penny has become so talked about among collectors. Let us begin with a little background on the Lincoln cent itself. The Lincoln penny was first introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It was the first regularly circulating coin in the United States to feature a real person instead of a symbolic figure, and the design became an instant piece of American history. The obverse shows the portrait of Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, while the reverse originally showed wheat stalks and later was changed to the Lincoln Memorial and most recently the Union Shield design. Now fast forward more than a century from the original introduction. By the time we reached 2015, the Lincoln cent had already gone through multiple redesigns, metal composition changes, and shifts in minting technology, but it still remained one of the most widely circulated coins in the country. In 2015, the Denver Mint produced millions of Lincoln pennies with the familiar D-Mint mark, yet among those coins some stood out for reasons that make collectors pay huge sums today. So, what makes a 2015 D penny worth over $37,000? The answer lies in a combination of rarity, condition, and collector demand. Not every 2015 D penny is valuable. In fact, most of them are worth just 1 cent, maybe a little more if they are in brilliant uncirculated condition, but in rare circumstances such as era coins or high-grade examples certified by professional grading companies, the value can skyrocket. To really appreciate this coin, we need to understand the Denver Mint, where it was produced. The Denver Mint has been creating coins since 1906, and it is known for striking billions of coins every year. The D Mint mark on a Lincoln penny tells us that it was minted in Denver rather than Philadelphia or San Francisco. Each mint has its own history and its own quirks, and Denver is no exception. Collectors always pay close attention to where a coin comes from. Now, the 2015 D penny might not sound old compared to something like a wheat penny from the 1940s or 1950s, but modern coins can actually be incredibly valuable because fewer people think to save them. When they are released into circulation, the majority of people spend them without realizing they may have a treasure in hand, and that means high-grade coins in pristine condition become harder and harder to find. When coin grading companies like PCGS or NGC evaluate a coin, they use a scale from 1 to 70 known as the Sheldon scale. Coins graded MS 67 or higher are considered gems, and coins that achieve MS 69 or even the elusive MS 70 are nearly flawless. These top grades are where collectors are willing to pay thousands, and in the case of the 2015 D Lincoln penny, one example graded in superb condition has reached a market value of $37,976. Imagine finding one of these in your change drawer or tucked away in a jar of pennies at home. You could be sitting on a fortune without even knowing it, and that is what makes this story so exciting. Every collector hopes to find that rare coin that turns pocket change into life-changing money, but condition is not the only factor. Errors also play a huge role in coin values. The minting process involves striking millions of coins with incredible speed and precision, yet mistakes do happen. Sometimes dies crack or clash, sometimes the planchets are off-center, sometimes double dies occur, and these mistakes create unique coins that collectors absolutely love. A 2015 D penny with a major error in high grade could easily become worth thousands and add to the overall mystique of this year and mint mark. Let us also talk about the design itself. The 2015 penny features the Union Shield reverse design, which was introduced in 2010. The shield symbolizes Lincoln's role in preserving the United States as a single union during the Civil War, with 13 vertical stripes joined under a single banner. It is a powerful image of strength and unity, and it continues to be a modern reminder of Lincoln's legacy paired with the iconic portrait on the obverse. The 2015 penny is both historic and modern. Collectors also think about population reports, which tell us how many coins of a certain grade exist. If only a handful of 2015 D pennies have been graded at the highest levels, then the rarity factor drives the value up even higher. Supply and demand is everything in numismatics, and when demand outweighs supply, the price climbs. So where does that $37,976 figure come from? It comes from a combination of recorded auction sales and estimated values based on population, rarity, and collector enthusiasm. In fact, in recent years, auction houses have sold extremely high-grade 2015 D pennies for staggering amounts, shocking both casual viewers and seasoned collectors, and those results have helped cement this coin's reputation as a modern treasure. Think about this for a moment: a coin minted less than a decade ago that most people overlook as spare change can rival, or even surpass, the value of coins that are over 100 years old. This challenges the old idea that only antique coins can be valuable, and it shows that paying attention to modern issues can be just as rewarding. Now let us imagine the journey of one of these coins. Perhaps it left the Denver Mint in 2015, struck in perfect condition, gleaming with fresh luster. It was sent out into circulation, but instead of being spent, it was set aside by someone who noticed its sharp details, maybe a roll hunter, maybe a casual saver. Over time, it found its way to a professional grading service, and after examination, it received a nearly perfect grade. That single grade transformed it from a 1-cent coin to a $37,976 treasure. The beauty of coin collecting is that stories like this are always possible. Every coin tells a story. Every mint mark, every year, and every condition opens the door to history and discovery. And the 2015 D penny is proof of that. For collectors today, it is important to know how to spot valuable examples. Always check the date and mint mark. Always look at the condition with a magnifying glass or under good light. Always check for doubling cracks or unusual marks, and most importantly, consider submitting coins to a grading service if you believe they are in top shape. Professional certification is what unlocks the highest market values. So, what lessons can we take from the 2015 D Lincoln penny? First, never assume modern coins are worthless. Second, always keep an eye out for errors in high-grade coins. Third, appreciate the history and symbolism behind the design. And fourth, remember that the value of coins is not just monetary but also cultural and historical. Now let us reflect a little more on Abraham Lincoln himself. After all, every penny with his portrait carries his legacy. Lincoln was the president who led the nation through its greatest trial, the Civil War. His leadership, his words, and his vision for a united America are etched not only in history books but in the very coins we use every day. The 2015 penny is not just a piece of metal, it is a tiny monument to a man who shaped the nation. Coin collectors often say that collecting is like holding history in your hands. When you hold a penny from 2015, you are holding a piece of recent history tied to an ancient tradition of coinage, tied to the story of a nation, and tied to the thrill of discovery and value. As we near the end of this deep dive, remember that the 2015 D Mint Mark Lincoln penny is a coin worth watching in the years to come. Its market value of $37,976 today may rise even further as fewer high-grade examples remain available, and as demand among collectors grows. So if you are a treasure hunter, a coin roll searcher, or just someone who enjoys learning about the hidden gems of everyday life, pay attention to the pennies in your pocket. That unassuming coin might be your ticket to unexpected wealth. Thank you for joining me on this long exploration of the 2015 D Lincoln penny coin. History, value, and meaning. Coins are more than money, they are history, art, and sometimes even a path to fortune.